Fear the Walking Dead Season 2, Episode 6, Sicut Cervus. Now, this was a really weird episode when it got to the end. I think the last maybe 10 minutes or so, 10-15 minutes, it just got really crazy. And turns out that we are on the Spanish version of Herschel's Farm now, which I thought was interesting. But it seems a lot more devious. Like, it seems a lot worse compared to, Herschel's Farm, they have, slight spoilers, I guess, if you're somehow watching this and not watching the original. But, they get to Herschel's Farm and things are really weird. And it's like, oh, they're, walkers, zombies in the barn. And we have that now where they have the families and, fathers and mothers and sons and daughters of all the people that worked at, basically this giant mansion ranch land area, for years. So the way they have it, where we get to meet, kind of the matriarch of everything, and she's in charge. Of course, we find out that, they finally make it off the boat. They're on land, and they've reached their destination. They get to land, and we find out that this woman is so concerned with keeping zombies as zombies, which I guess in her mind keeping the zombies alive, that she poisoned all those people at the beginning of the episode. And it was really crazy. I was very surprised by that. Like, it was a crazy start, and I thought it was going to focus a lot more on the people on land before the group actually, got there. But it's just that opening, and we see Strand's boyfriend there, and whatever happened afterward was clearly pretty bad because he gets bit, so he dies by the end of the episode. And the way that he dies, I don't think is going to help anybody, because with his mother being like, oh, no one, you don't shoot them in the head, so they'll find their way back and all this other stuff. Like, it's not them dying, it's just the next stage or whatever. She's not going to be happy with Strand. Like, she finally admits, like, I never really thought you were good enough for him and stuff like that. And then she thought that the way they were doing things was the right way to do it, to poison themselves and then they become zombies. And he decides not to do that at the end, and he shoots him. He shoots his boyfriend in the head, and that's not going to work for his mom. Like, I don't know how much longer they're going to be there, but it can't be too long, because that was, like, her big deal. It's like, oh, well, he's going to die, which sucks, but he'll still be my son. He'll still be around. And now it's like, oh, he's truly dead. And I'm very curious how in the world they're going to play with this idea, because, she's obviously in charge of everything, so they can't really disrupt too much without being completely kicked out or starting, like a crazy all-out war with all the people that work there. So I don't know how much longer that's going to last. Already it seems like it's going to be a real quick stay, and then they're moving on to something else. Who knows what, but they are not going to be here for too long at all, which is made very clear in this episode. And at the same time, we have Chris. I don't even know what's going on with Chris. I guess he's just losing his effing mind. I mean, he's losing his mind, and I forgot to mention this in the last episode because I forgot about that little scene. But Salazar is kind of losing his mind as well, because in the last episode, he was like hearing stuff, or it was like, I think it was like, pick up the gun, Daniel, or something like that. And he was about to like take the hood off of the zombie because he's like, there's no way I'm hearing this. And then in this episode, when he's with the boy, I couldn't tell. I was trying to figure out if that was a flashback of him as a kid or if that was him holding that kid. Because with all the weird stuff he's talked about, like people dying and him having to kill people, it honestly made me curious. I'm like, I'm not 100% sure that wasn't his hand. That could have been him as the boy, but that could have been him as the man holding that boy's throat. So it was just like, I'm not 100% sure which situation, like where he is in that flashback. And considering he was holding the boy and then the flashback was a man holding the child, I feel like he was the one holding that boy. And it could have been him, like I said, that was the actual child. But we don't really know. Maybe he had to kill that boy to actually escape with his family or some really crazy stuff. Because he talked about, having to do some things and people saying like, oh, we'll help these people here and stuff like that. And then they kill all the people and dump them in the river. Crazy stuff. So it's just really hard to tell if he was actually that boy or if he was the man in that flashback. Or, maybe he was the boy and now he is the man and, it's just messing with him. But he's changing and things are getting pretty bad. Obviously, he's going to be an antagonist against, I want to say her name's Celia, I believe. So they aren't going to get along. I was surprised how direct he was after he talked with the boy and he found out all the zombies were in the cage. He just walked right in like, okay, I was in the cellar. A bunch of zombies that's dangerous and stupid. Instantly, he knew that she poisoned all the people at the church and stuff, and he, smelled the thing. So I'm just like, this is nuts. Like, he knows exactly what's going on and everything, and I don't think she's gonna want any of that competition. So she's got an issue with him. She's gonna have an issue with Strand. Um, she probably doesn't have an issue just yet with Madison, but Madison, with kind of her protection over Nick and how impressionable he is, and kind of his odd position in life, she's getting so protective it kind of makes her standoffish. So even when they have their like first conversation, she seems a little bit on the offense automatically, and it seems unwarranted. So that could escalate, which it seems like it does based on the promo where she's like, "Stay away from her because things are weird." And I'm assuming that comes after the whole explanation, like, "Hey, they're keeping all these things, locked up like right below us in the cellar." And feeding dogs to them, which that sucks. And the boy just dropped a dog down the chute to feed them, really. And that's the really interesting thing. This is beyond like, oh, they're just there. It's like they're actually feeding them, and that takes it to an even higher level, because it's not just, oh, we keep them locked up. It's like, oh, we have to feed them. Make sure you go feed them and stuff, as if they truly need to eat. Um, in order to survive. And it was just very interesting. So it takes it up to a new level beyond just, yeah, we're keeping them around because we believe that, they're still in there somewhere, or that they're, even if they don't believe they're still in there, it's like they just can't bring themselves to do it, so they don't. And I just know it's going to be bad. It's The Walking Dead. Even if it's Fear the Walking Dead, it's going to be bad. So it's already like three things against, Celia that she's not gonna really appreciate. I don't think. I think the only person that really bonds with her in this episode is Nick, and we'll see if she tries to manipulate him or something like that. She doesn't seem evil. I mean, obviously they have the very wrong idea of keeping them locked up, which is dangerous because at some point, the bars could bend or whatever. Because they're all, when they go in there, the little boy standing there, all these zombies are just pushing straight up against this gate. And it would probably take a super long time, but eventually they would wear down with just, 100% pressure all the time, just pushing and pushing. They'd, break out because it just takes enough pressure over enough amount of time. And I'm sure things will escalate when, they'll just get out somehow anyway. But I like how they played this one. It's like it seemed like they finally made it to paradise a little bit, and it starts off kind of risky. We actually lose the guy on the boat, and then they make it past the military and stuff, and they get to land. They have to have like a crazy fight with all the dead people from the church, which I thought those were the dead people from the church when they got there, like with the rebar and stuff in their heads. And then they all like walked around the corner. I'm like, well, who are all these dead people on the ground? Because they didn't look like they were there in the beginning of the episode. So they have to have a crazy fight scene and take them all out. Nick has to like kill the little zombie girl and like split her head open and stuff. Chris, who has like a really crazy moment, just decides, I guess because Madison told Travis to talk to him, he's like, oh, she said she believed me, and now he feels like he has an enemy in Madison, I guess. And he just stands there. And of course, Alicia sees that, so they have a little confrontation, and he gave the worst answer he could have given when she's like, what if I do tell somebody? His response is, I don't want to hurt anyone. I'm like, that is not the response you give. That just means you're going to kill somebody, basically, or at least try to. So, I don't know what his deal was. And, I mean, honestly, he went in the room and he grabbed the knife, and I can only assume that his plan was to try to, if not kill both of them, at least kill Madison, because I guess he thinks they'll turn everybody against him or something like that, which he's certainly doing a great job of that himself if he's just going to try to start killing everybody off. So he's lost his mind now, and I don't know. I'm not sure where that's going to lead to. I'm excited to see for sure, because if they make it any darker, he's just going to flat out be murdering his own family. So I don't know. It's hard to tell where they're going to take that or how they could resolve it, because they kind of just, it started off with him just being pushed by, the guy, which seemed simple enough. And then he just went like leaps and bounds to go to, oh, I'll let Madison die because she didn't believe me, which nobody should. I mean, obviously, especially considering the guy turned into a zombie, clearly you weren't shooting him because he was going to turn into a zombie, because you would have shot him in a different way. So, no one probably believes him anyway, just, Madison was the one to say it. So, to go, like, just the crazy extra mile to let her get eaten, by a zombie during that fight, and then go into the room and seemingly try to kill her, I just can't imagine where they're trying to take his character. I mean, I just don't see him lasting too long, because whenever somebody seems to go crazy, it's like, all right, well, it's not. It's very different because it's literally, they're actually family. It's not just like, oh, we bonded together, so now we're like family. They're actually family. Well, it's closer than the regular Walking Dead. They knew each other before everything was crazy, and now they have an even tighter bond. So I don't know where they're going to be taking this character, but it's very exciting. It's scary for sure, because I don't know if he's going to like go off the deep end or what, but I'm excited to see where they take things with his character. But certainly looking forward to the next episode. Excited to see how the group kind of joins together, and we get to see how they kind of cast themselves out, really, from this pseudo paradise that they're in right now. Also, can't wait to see what they do with Salazar, because they did it in the last episode, and they definitely did it in this one. Just from the coin, when the guy was like, give this to my mom, and he saw the owl, he just tossed it, so he knows who she is. And that's probably why he was so direct. It's like he knows, maybe, I mean, as considering it was a coin, I would have to assume it's like a family crest or something like that. So maybe he knows that family crest, and like that's who he was fighting, during that war and stuff. So maybe that's why he's so just like direct against her, and he never trusted her family to begin with. Or something else crazy. Who knows? There's something with his past that's going to be coming up. So I'm definitely looking forward to that, because every time he gives a lesson, it's always like, yeah, I was here and they killed a bunch of kids, or I was here and there were a bunch of dead bodies when I was a kid and they're floating in the river. So he never has any cool stories from being a kid. So I'm excited to see what they have for him as a backstory. But definitely want to know what you guys thought about this episode. So please comment below. Let me know your favorite parts, least favorite parts. And I definitely want to know how you guys think this sort of, stopgap is going to play out, because they're obviously not going to be here too long. They have zombies underneath them. Everyone's against them because they're the newcomers and stuff. So if everyone's kind of joined together on this idea of keeping their family members as zombies locked up in the cage, they can't go against that and think everything will be fine. So I already know that's going to happen, especially because they already did with Salazar. They started it off. We have the stuff with Strand messing with Celia when with him shooting her son in the head, because that's like the final move. And then we just have everything else with Madison going against her and trying to protect Nick, and Chris being crazy. That's easily going to cause some issues, but I want to know how long you guys think they might last and how it's all going to fall apart, because it definitely will. I'm not sure how. Personally, I think they might just push. I think it might actually be Salazar, because I think it'll have something to do with his backstory, and it might be that he knows about her family and stuff like that, because he looked at it and he tossed that coin. This is a dying guy, and that's like his final request, and he just tossed it into the water like it was nothing to him. So I feel like that's how it's all ultimately going to fall apart. It's going to be his actions, because he knows her family, or brothers or uncles or whatever, something like that. He dealt with her family before, so automatic issue, against them. So that's my guess, is it'll be somehow related to Salazar. But definitely want to know your predictions about how long they're going to be lasting in this current location. And of course, I want to know what you guys thought about the episode in general. So please comment below, let me know, and thanks for watching.